Travolting presents The Fraser's Edge. Hosted by Jeff Sweeney and Stuart Elmore. Covering school ties. With special guest, Matt Abaldi.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Stuart.
You remember how good of a movie Dead Poets Society was?
Yes, I haven't seen it in like a decade, but it is a good movie.
It's a great movie.
It has a little baby Ethan Hawke in it.
It does. It's a nice little movie, you know.
Yeah.
North, very East Coastal, Northeast region, boarding school, all prep, all boys, boarding school.
Yeah, as Dead Poets Society, if I'm recalling correctly, was shot partially in my high school?
In Delaware.
Yeah, it was shot in Delaware.
Yeah.
It was shot in Delaware. I believe that part of the location was my high school's original location.
Nice.
Or maybe I'm mixing up with another school in their area.
Well, in either case, we can all agree, like, Dead Poets Society, good movie, you know?
Yes.
It's got some good lessons about, you know, what it means to be a man and how to, like, you know, follow your dreams and follow your goals despite what, you know, society expectations are for you, and breaking family, you know, traditional paths that you're expected to go through. It's such a great movie.
It's a movie about the inversion, about like breaking down high school masculinity.
Yeah.
And supportive and nature and, you know, finding love in the arts.
I think it's just a great movie about a really nice school.
It's a good movie. This movie is about pricks are always going to be pricks.
Yes.
And fuck them.
Yeah. To tie us all together here, we are not talking about the movie Dead Poets Society.
We are not talking about Dead Poets Society.
We are actually talking about
Live Poets Society.
Right. You probably have already seen the title of the episode, so you know this isn't about Dead Poets Society.
Yeah.
There is a point to why we brought up Dead Poets Society, but we're actually here to talk about school ties.
Yeah. I'm all dressed up in my school ties.
That did not work.
It did not work. It did not work.
It did not work.
That was an attempt at a bit, and it crashed.
We spent 20 minutes deciding how we're going to introduce this episode.
Yeah, there was a lot of discussion about how to start this
15 of those minutes was Jeff trying to sell this suit and tie Justin Timberlake idea. I told him no.
It did
many
not
times.
Work. I'll be the first to cop. It didn't work.
Okay,
it did
not work.
You shoot 100 bits a minute. They can't all be winners.
Exactly. So, yeah, we're covering School Ties. Came out in 1992.
A movie with a deceptively misleading poster.
Oh, really?
Not in, like, a huge way. But if you look at the poster for this movie, this is not the poster the movie released with. The poster the movie released with is this one, which is, I'm showing it to Stuart. Yeah. It's Brendan Fraser in a car with the window coming up, and he's looking at a bunch of kids hanging out, a bunch of boys hanging out together.
Yeah.
Like showing his distance from them.
Yeah.
The poster that is used post-release is this one, in which you will notice, instead of, you know, trying to tell the ideas of the movie in the poster, which is what a great poster does, it's selling the fact that half of the cast of this movie went on to become famous. Because this is Matt Damon's first movie.
Yeah.
It's Ben Affleck's first movie.
Yeah.
It's Brendan Fraser's, like, third movie.
It's like, well, I would say it's his, like, spiritual...
It's essentially his second movie.
Yeah.
If you count just theatrical releases.
Right.
And he shot this first.
Yeah.
And then Chris O'Donnell is in this.
Yeah.
I will point out, 2 of these guys have probably less than 20 lines in this movie.
Right.
Ben Affleck has less than 5.
Right.
He just happens to be like a supporting guy. He's like on the 7th page of billing.
Now, I'd say like Chris O'Donnell and Matt Damon have pretty substantial parts in this movie.
Matt Damon, yes. Chris O'Donnell, like, he's present.
Well,
but I wouldn't say he's like, he doesn't really have a character. He's just kind of the roommate.
I would say he's like, he plays like the subtle part of the moral compass of the guys.
He does. I don't think there's enough of his, like, enough of him in this.
Are we already coming to a disagreement on this movie, Jeff?
Yes. I just find it very funny that because this movie was a bomb at the box office.
Yeah.
That it just got extremely lucky in the DVD realm.
Yeah.
Because the entire cast went on to become megastars.
Well, Chris O'Donnell a little.
Chris O'Donnell, I mean, he's Robin.
Yeah.
but they were able to just blast Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck, who clearly looks like is not aware he's going to be on the poster for this movie,
right?
In this image,
Matt, the Ben Affleck one is a little startling.
Yeah, Ben Affleck one is very startling
because like if you know his role in this movie, like you're right, Jeff. He literally is just like
he has less than 5 lines.
Yeah, borderline a background actor.
Yes,
in this movie.
In the opening of the movie, he gets credited on it's like Brendan Fraser, Chris O'Donnell.
Matt Damon.
And then it's like a group of 4 guys, another group of 4 guys, and then in the third one, Ben Affleck is like third down the list.
Yeah.
Front and center on this poster. It's very funny.
Yeah.
I just wanted to start with that because I find it funny.
Yeah. But yeah, so I would say this movie was actually shot before Encino Man.
Yes.
But came out after.
If you discount Dogfight, this is the first live action theatrical movie that he filmed.
Yeah.
Nothing.
You're good. Yeah, because like I was gonna say, it's his first like this would be akin to like I don't know, like I'm not gonna say Saturday Night Fever because I just mean that in the sense of like
this. I would say this is ostensibly like the Saturday Night Fever
for John Travolta for Brendan Fraser. Yeah. Because like this is his first feature film theatrical starring role.
Yes.
Before this, again, like Encino Man came up before this movie, but it was shot after. And then there was Guilty Until Proven Innocent, which is his starring TV role. But with that being said, it's still kind of a Martin Sheen vehicle. But he is definitely
he's in it enough.
He's definitely
Boy in the Plastic Bubble is a Buzz Aldrin vehicle.
Well, yeah. And then Dogfight. And then Child of Darkness, Child of Light.
Because Dogfight is the Carrie equivalent, even if his role is a lot smaller than Travolta's was in Carrie.
Yeah.
Boy
in the Plastic Bubble with
Guilty is Boy in the Plastic Bubble.
Yeah.
And then I would say, based on these being filmed in the opposite order, you can plug this in for Saturday Night Fever and Encino Man in for Grease.
I would 100% agree. And it also, like, again, it's weird how this is sort of matching up spiritually, Jeff.
It's matching up very much.
Because you have Saturday Night Fever, School Ties, both thespian, very dramatic.
They're very intelligent movies.
Very intelligent movies.
Or at least they're trying to be intelligent movies.
Dramatic related roles that require, depth in character. Then you get Grease and Encino Man.
Which are the movies that that Travolta and Fraser are more kind of popped off more, and that kind of became their shtick. And it's maybe not what they were specific. I mean, I'm sure Travolta loves singing and dancing.
Yeah.
But it's like rather than showing the dramatic work, the blockbuster becomes the ones about music, a 50s musical, or He's a Caveman with Pauly Shore.
But I think who
still hasn't responded to my text.
Oh no! For folks who may have not been totally present in our last episode on Encino Man, Jeff
did text Pauly Shore.
Did indeed text via Cameo.
Should I just pay the fucking $750 and have him do an ad for this podcast?
No, you are not doing that. As your friend, I am going to tell you that is not a good idea. Don't do that, Jeff.
You know how I convince myself out of making bad purchases? I quantify it in the amount of hours I have to work to make that amount of money. And so to pay $750 for Pauly Shore to do an ad for this podcast, that would be the equivalent of working 4 days. When I'm working this week, for the first 4 days, I'm going to be like, do I really want to be doing this right now so Pauly Shore does an ad for my podcast? And the answer will be no. And that's how I will talk myself out of this.
Interesting. Okay.
I quantify my purchases in the hours worked.
Okay.
If I spend $30, I'm like, that's like an hour or two.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. At any rate, one thing I wanted to get to with this particular role and this order of movies is this does something a little bit different for Fraser than it does for Travolta.
Yes.
So I 100% agree that like Grease was more of like it popularized Travolta.
Yes.
I mean, Saturday Night Fever proved his accolades.
Yeah, and he
proved he was an actor.
And he got his Oscar nomination.
And I would say, but here's the difference. Both films got an audience.
Yeah, I mean, Saturday Night Fever was a mega success.
Exactly.
I don't want to like discredit that. Made an insane amount of money.
Yeah, both films got a huge audience.
Yes.
Grease still being like the number 8 highest grossing musical in the world. Whereas for Fraser, School Ties, I mean, like I rented it on Amazon Prime for like $3.
Yeah.
But I had not heard of this movie before, we started this podcast.
Yeah.
I had no knowledge it existed.
Yes.
And this is a movie that, while it's not impossible to find, it's still like kind of a movie that
you're not going to watch unless like you have a reason to watch it.
Exactly.
Like, it's on HBO Max right now for anyone who's curious.
Maybe that's how I watched it.
And it wasn't like, I'm sure if I was just scrolling HBO Max, I'd be like, oh, a high school movie with Brendan Fraser, Matt Damon, and Ben Affleck.
Yeah, when they're all really young.
I'm like, maybe I'll add it to the watch list and then never watch it.
Yeah.
Because we all know that if you add something to your watch list, you're saying, I'm not going to watch this.
Exactly. Do you ever do that thing where you go back into your old watch list from like your Netflix and all your other accounts and you see all the stuff you add and you're like, I'm not going to watch this. You delete. And you sort of refine till you have like 5 things that you're still telling yourself you're going to watch.
Yeah, and then you don't.
I have the Barack Obama narrated 10-part miniseries of national parks.
I have like, I think I put Doctor Who on there at some point.
Oh my god.
So I've never seen an episode from.
Oh my god.
That it's like lists like 30 fucking seasons.
I mean, you got to start with the Eccles. You don't have to do the classic.
I think it's like literally like the thing is like start with 1966.
Oh no. I know I'm gonna get like heated by Whovians out there, but like I'm just a Doctor Who fan. I'm not a Whovian. You know the difference, right?
You just you appreciate it. You don't like
worship it. Yeah, Whovians worship Doctor Who. I'm just a Doctor Who fan. Just start with the Christopher Eccleston one when it came back on BBC. You don't have to go all the way back to the fucking first Doctor shit.
Yeah, William Hartnell.
No.
Doctor.
Yeah, no, you don't have to do that.
It is funny, like that all of the doctors were old men until like Christopher Eccleston, and they're all young.
Yeah, I think that's something about British broadcast culture or something like that.
That old guys.
The old guys
could just like lead a show.
Yeah.
Like you could watch a stout old guy be a wizard for like 9 seasons.
I mean, they did bring who's the guy after
Tom Baker, John Pertwee?
No, I'm talking about the newer seasons.
Peter Capaldi.
Peter Capaldi. They did bring Peter Capaldi into it.
Yes.
Kind of brought back the old guy-esque of it.
The old guy energy. OGE.
Yeah.
Old guy energy.
Yes. All right. Anyway, back to Fraser. So whereas Encino Man, I feel like really locked him down for like, this guy's a comedy actor.
Yeah, like he's very good at being funny. He's very good at being charming.
And like we can take a look at the future movies to come, and like we can see like the decisions have been laid out for him. And so like I'm just taking a quick look at this, but like so after
this, his next movie is $20. That's the next thing we're going to be covering. Then it's Son-in-Law, which is another Pauly Shore.
We're not covering Younger and Younger?
Younger and Younger will be after Son-in-Law. But that's a comedy film.
Oh, okay.
With Honors. That's another comedy film.
Yeah. Airheads
comedy. In the Army Now comedy. The Scout comedy. Passion of Darkly Noon. Intense horror.
Interesting.
We'll be having Cole Bradley on for that one.
Yeah.
Now and then. But like his career kind of becomes like doing comedy bits with the occasional dramatic work.
Yeah. And this is going to become like a major talking point in future episodes when we do our retrospectives, that I feel like these 2 movies is a critical defining point for Fraser's career going forward.
Yes.
Because the thing I wanted to say about Fraser is, and I'll say this as opposed to Travolta, because Travolta, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, like his dad owned a tire company, but his mom worked in show business.
I believe that was the case.
And so like he was doing a lot of Broadway stuff and like musicals when he was like a teenager and got his first role at 18. I mean, like Brendan Fraser is the Midwest boy.
Yes.
He's the kid that grew up in Indiana, moved out and went to school for acting.
And then he got in the industry.
And then he started auditioning, took his background roles, and then got his first role.
Yes.
But I want the reason being is because like Fraser, I feel like, he doesn't come from, and I don't mean this in slight to Travolta, but I assume Fraser had like no aunts or uncles as producers.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, like he had one relative who was like an Olympic medalist.
Yeah.
But that's like his closest connection to show business.
Right. And so, like, I feel like with Fraser coming into the industry fresh and a complete outsider, Fraser's going to take what he can take.
Yes.
And so if, he looks at this defining moment like, well, people didn't like School Ties, so they just didn't go see it. But Encino Man made a good amount.
They loved me in Encino Man.
They loved me in Encino Man. I think I got to stick with this comedy shtick.
Yeah.
Which also involves...
I got to stick with what people are seeing, not what I enjoy doing.
Right. And what people are seeing is Brendan Fraser act silly, goofy, and with his shirt off.
Yeah,
and we're going to talk about that in the future because I have a lot of points to say about that.
Because like even with The Mummy,
yeah,
like he's very broad in that movie.
Yeah,
he's playing very comedic.
Yeah,
I think he's great in The Mummy.
Oh,
don't get me wrong.
Right.
But it kind of just becomes like he's an actor who wants like a Tom Cruise career at this point.
Yeah,
when he's doing like Firm, Interview with the Vampire, occasional action movies.
Yeah.
Dramas, legal thrillers.
Yeah.
But instead he kind of like gets diverged into more of a comedic charm offensive.
Yeah. Comedic charm and someone who's nice to look at.
Yes. And I don't want to discredit, like, he's good in those movies. He's very good at that stuff, which is why he kind of gets directed in that way.
Yeah.
He's maybe even better in those than he is in dramas.
Yeah.
But that's besides the point. The point is not like which of them he's better in. The point is what did he want to do?
And folks may be asking why we are spending so much time talking about it. And I'll tell you my reason, Jeff.
This is the Fraser's Edge, buddy.
I'll tell you my reason, but I want to hear, if you agree. The reason why I went on a little tangent about this is because Brendan Fraser fucking rocks in this movie.
He's very good.
He's so good in this movie. Mm-hmm. And like I feel like if this was like a first time view of an actor, I genuinely, without any sarcasm implemented, like I would want to see where he's going after this movie.
You know who actually a good comparison figure with Brendan Fraser right now is?
Who?
In this great Harrison Ford.
I think we've said this before.
We've said that he has similar energy to him, like that he's good at like being the goofball.
Yeah. Like
the Indiana Jones Rick O'Connell comparison.
Yeah.
But a great thing is like, Harrison Ford, he does 3 Star Wars movies, 3 Indiana Jones movies in the 80s. He also does like Blade Runner and whatnot.
Yeah.
He, like Fraser, wanted to be a dramatic actor.
Yeah.
He was happy to do Indiana Jones, and he was maybe less happy to do Star Wars, but he's good in those movies. But the thing that he his favorite, the movie he really went in on was Witness initially with Peter Weir.
Yeah.
Which he's incredible in. He gets his Oscar nomination for it.
Yeah.
That comes out, and he is really invigorated by that process of like playing a real dramatic movie. Even though the movie has action scenes, it's essentially an action thriller movie.
Yeah.
And so he goes in with Weir on this next movie, which is Harrison Ford's like most personal project, is The Mosquito Coast. I don't know if you've seen The Mosquito Coast.
No.
Few have. It's an incredible movie. It's basically like he plays an inventor, like hyper libertarian inventor.
Yeah.
Who decides he wants to get away from the commercialism of America. So he takes his family and moves to South America. Decides he's going to live entirely off the land in Bidda's Village. And it's very much like an Icarus Has Fallen story.
Yeah.
Of this guy losing his mind in the jungle.
Okay.
Incredible movie. Complete flop. People were like, Harrison Ford doing a serious movie? So silly. And he was so discouraged by the reception of that, he never really did anything like that again. Which is, I think, kind of... And I think this is a much smaller case of that for Fraser.
Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, he will do dramatic work in the future.
Right.
Gods and Monsters, for example.
Yeah.
Critical acclaim movie. He will do it, as did Ford. But I think there's a similarity to be drawn between the two.
Yeah.
Where they kind of saw that their more populist work gets them better accolade. Like, people are more interested in that.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, I'll give them what they want.
Yeah. So, Jeff, my question to you is, does that make you all the more excited to talk about the movie Extraordinary Measures when we get to talk about Brendan Fraser and Harrison Ford
Stuart,
in one movie? That's a dramatic role for both of them.
Don't even
what?
Don't even talk to me about that. No, we are gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it. But don't get me. We still got months to go, buddy. Months
and months.
Yes. And so, school ties. Shall we dive into context for this movie? No, we kind of laid the Fraser context.
Yeah.
The context for this is that it's a high school boarding school movie, much like Dead Poets Society.
Yes.
It's mostly shot in Worcester, Massachusetts. I have an aunt who lives near there.
Yeah.
So I've been to the area. At the beginning of the movie, Fraser does leave Scranton, and they film Scranton in Massachusetts, which I just think is disrespectful to Scranton. Scranton deserves to be seen as like the mud pit that it is, in all honesty.
Jeff being from Pennsylvania, so we can say Scranton is a mud pit.
Scranton, like, if you've ever seen the old, like, 2008 election SNL skits where Jason Sudeikis as Joe Biden's like, I'm from Scranton, it's a hellhole, I got out of there. It's like, it's how Pennsylvanians see Scranton.
Yeah.
It's really not that bad, but for the bit.
Sure.
It was mostly filmed there. It's the first film that Fraser, shot of theatrical release, aside from Dogfight.
Yeah.
And it's directed by Robert Mandel.
Tell me about Robert Mandel, Jeff.
I really can't.
Well, that's my point.
Yeah, he
doesn't really exist. I mean, he exists, but like in the exact same way that a bunch of other TV movie directors sort of exist.
He does a lot of episodes of TV. He's still working in TV.
Yeah.
He did movies he's directed. He did Independence Day, but not the one you're thinking of. FX, Touch and Go, Big Shots, School Ties, and then The Substitute.
He did The Rage Carrie 2.
He did not. That's what I was going to bring up. He started directing The Rage Carrie 2.
Oh my God,
which was at that time called Carrie 2 Say You're Sorry.
Are you kidding me?
But he was fired due to creative differences. And Kat Shee took over for The Rage Carrie 2.
Oh my God.
And then the last thing he did was that in movies. He only worked in TV after.
Bro.
Imagine getting fired from Carrie 2 over creative differences. Imagine that.
Yeah.
A movie in which I think the only returning character for Carrie 2 is Amy Irving as Sue Snell. Like the third most relevant character in Carrie.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, Carrie, everyone dies except for her, so I suppose. But,
But yeah, so this guy's mostly known for TV series, and he has a couple movies under his belt, but like, I mean, like, it's hard because you look at School Ties on paper and pre-production, and like, there's not a lot of chances you want to take with this movie.
Yeah, it's a fairly straightforward movie, and I think the biggest problem with this movie that I have is it's very by the books.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of wastes a lot of time. But when you look at it on paper, it all made sense to me when I looked at this on paper.
Yeah.
Do you know who wrote this movie?
Who wrote this movie?
Dick Wolf.
Oh, yeah.
Dick Wolf wrote this movie.
Right.
Our corporate business zaddy. Hey, Papa, we loved your movie. You can turn off the episode now. All right, now that I've said that.
Yeah.
But no, it made a lot of sense to me when I saw that Dick Wolf had written this.
Yeah.
Because it kind of plays like a Dick Wolf plot. And that there's a lot of time wasted at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then when it gets to the meat of the story, which is like the legal aspect of this, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm really locked in.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of ends. Shortly.
Yeah.
After.
Right.
And so to me, like when I saw Dick Wolf, I was like, oh, yeah, it's a Dick Wolf story. That's how they go.
Well, and also I think Dick Wolf did write this. This is another one of those, like, I can't like follow this up with additional sources, but like Dick Wolf said he wrote this because he had a lot of personal experience with this movie.
Yeah.
As well. That Dick Wolf also suffered from anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
And things of that sort. So I think, I felt like it was written from like that sort of personal standpoint, but I mean, I don't know. Yeah, Dick Wolf wrote this. A no-name director directed this. And
Yes.
Dick Wolf, mind you, still very early and young in his career. This is not Dick Wolf, the Dick Wolf we know today, with like all of like the Law and Order
This is
stuff.
This is
It's before the first Law and Order episode, I'm pretty sure, isn't it?
Yeah, this would be like a year after the first episode of Law and Order.
So like still very young and early in
I
his
would
career.
bet he had the script for a while.
Yeah.
And then after Law and Order kind of popped off in the first season, they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, he wrote a movie. Let's make that."
Yeah.
That's how I would guess that this happened. I don't know for sure.
But that all being said, like this movie on paper, it doesn't sound like something you want to take a lot of chances on.
Yes.
From a producer executive standpoint.
Yeah.
Like this is a movie
It's Dead Poet Society light. It's like it's in the same
Yeah,
vein.
it kind of is. Like it's
clearly just a riff on Dead Poet Society.
Yeah, but with probably a little bit of a smaller budget.
Yes, this was shot for a budget of $18 million.
Whereas Dead Poet Society, which was shot
Let me find out.
3 years earlier, 1989.
Dead Poet Society would have been shot 3. Oh, this actually had a bigger budget than Dead Poet Society.
No
Dead
shit.
Poet Society was 16.4.
No shit.
Which I wonder where that money went.
Well, like
Did Dick Wolf just take a large chunk?
it clearly didn't go into the actors.
Yeah, because none of them are big names at this time.
And
Didn't go into the director.
Didn't go to the director.
Robin Williams was a big name. When
Right.
They did Dead Poet Society. So,
Yeah.
like, maybe it all went to Maurice Jarre for the score. I don't know.
Maybe Maurice Jarre for the score, who also scored Dead Poet Society.
Yeah, they're like very much calling their hand with that one.
Yeah.
But he also did the best score ever, Lawrence of Arabia,
Yeah.
which must be respected.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I don't know where that money.
I don't know where that money
This
goes.
movie's entirely set at one location.
Yeah, nothing really happens.
I could have made this movie for less than $18 million.
Yeah.
Maybe after Encino Man, Fraser was able to renegotiate getting money for that. I don't
It
know.
was shot before Encino.
I know it's very strange. It's very strange.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
Anyway, so that's more or less the context of it, is that Robert Mandel directed it, Dick Wolf wrote it, and they made it for $18 million.
Yeah.
Fraser was very happy with this movie, happy with his performance in it. So
Yeah.
he put a lot into the promotion of it.
There's a lot of interview materials about this movie. Like, he still has a lot of fun times talking about this movie. And
does.
I think it was a movie that mattered a lot to him, which...
I'm sure it was upsetting when it didn't quite do what he was hoping.
Right. And that's kind of where I we talked a little bit before we started recording, but like, where I wanted to sort of call this a little bit of like John Travolta's like Blowout.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know, because like this movie just wasn't seen.
Yes.
I just want that it was seen and it did poorly.
I mean, I don't think we get to Fraser's Blowout equivalent for quite a while.
Yeah, I think.
Because Fraser doesn't really have a down period until the mid 2000s.
Yeah, right. I would agree with that.
Something probably along the lines of like Inkheart, maybe. Might fit in. G.I. Joe: Rise of Cobra.
Maybe, I don't know.
G.I. Joe: Rise of Cobra is a movie. Fairly Odd Parents: Wishology.
Who does he play in that?
Turbo Thunder.
Oh God.
We will be talking about Fairly Odd Parents on the show, friends. It originally was not on this list, and then I realized it is technically a TV movie.
Fucking hell.
So we will be talking about the Fairly Odd Parents.
Oh Jesus. Do you have anything more in context, Jeff?
I do not. I'm ready to dive into the sucker.
All right. So we begin on Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it's a very dreary day in the movie. It was a very dreary day here this morning, so I was like, oh yeah, matches. Feels like a good movie for this.
It's also very humid outside.
Yes, it is hot.
Yeah. As my Red Bull can is sweating on your table. But we start with a dreary Scranton, Pennsylvania. This takes place in the 1950s. Another Dead Poet Society similarity.
Yes.
That it's also in the 1950s. We start on this diner.
Yes.
Where
a bunch of
jamokes.
Yeah, what would you call these guys? Because at first I was like, oh, they're greasers, and then actual greasers show up. So I was like, I don't know what to call these guys.
Well, I think they're like just like public high schoolers. Jocks.
Yeah.
I think they're like jocks.
They're jocks. Okay.
Yeah, I think
they're jock because the classic fight jocks and greasers. Yes, they're the jocks.
it's the Indiana Jones Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Shia LaBeouf throw this chair at a guy, and then oh my god, and you get the Letterman jackets versus the leather jackets.
Yeah. Best detail of that scene is that if you watch just Spielberg's blocking of it, in the background, Harrison Ford takes the hat off and puts it on a random jock, so the Russians are trying to follow the jock. Anyway.
Yeah. It's brilliant.
What a movie.
What a movie.
I like Crystal Skull, but we shan't be talking about this because we need to stay on topic.
Yes.
We shan't.
We shan't.
Yes. So there's a bunch of jocks, and they're hanging out in the diner.
Brendan Fraser is there.
Yes. They're all smoking.
Yeah.
Which I was curious, so I looked up, and 45% of the U.S. population smoked at this time.
Oh, of course.
Which, like, we all know this.
Smoking
but,
was healthy back in
when
the 50s.
you see the percentages, you're like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Smoking was healthy back then.
Yes, they're like, yeah, it clears out your lungs.
Yeah, exactly. And then some greasers show up.
Yes. 4 greasers on bikes.
Right. And I think we get some exposition where, like, they're talking like, oh, so you're going to a private boarding school. You're better than all of us. And then he throws out an anti-Semitic like slur.
He says an anti-Semitic slur to Fraser.
Yeah.
Who's like the king jock, essentially.
Yeah, basically.
Everyone loves him.
Because he's a star quarterback.
He's a star quarterback.
Yeah.
And so he starts fighting with the guy, the greaser.
Immediately gets masculine and just starts beating the shit
Very
out of him.
defensive.
And then the diner's like, no, don't fight in here. Take it to the alley.
Because they're fine with fights in the alley.
And then it turns into like a little skip, Lou, skip to my do song as they all like walk to the alley, like do, skip to my do. Yeah. And as they're taking off their jackets, and then they get to the alley,
There's
and
like
then
50 kids.
back to battle scene music.
Battle.
And then they start fighting. And what's that? Travolta. Fraser pretty much kicks his ass.
Yes. But he gets a few licks in himself, and
he gets a major bite in the eye.
A little scar
on the eye. Yeah.
Or a bruise, I should say. And so he wins the fight, and he walks off. And everyone's like, yeah. He goes and he picks up his dad at work.
Yeah.
Because this is the day he's leaving from boarding school.
And so his dad sees the bruise right away and immediately gives him the whole, like, with great power comes great responsibility. Like, the whole speech of, like, you know, they're going to look at you at this boarding school and think you're a chump. And he's like, well, I am a chump. Like, I'm getting here on, like, a free ride scholarship for football. Like, that's all that they want me here for.
And he's like, what am I supposed to do if they call me a slur?
Right. What am I supposed to do?
Just walk away? And his dad's like, absolutely. That's what you do. You walk away.
Yeah. How does that work out for him?
Not very well.
Not very well.
He proceeds to not do that.
Which is kind of laying down the blocks of what this movie should and is somewhat trying to be about. I say those words very, very carefully because it is the one aspect where I do feel like this movie sort of falters a little bit.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, you know, after talking with his dad, he gets in the train and goes.
Yeah.
Or the bus. And then the movie kind of drops. Like, to me, the thing is, the next 45 minutes of the movie, there's next to nothing to do with his, like, Jewish. Like,
yeah, there's only, like, one little scene.
There's, like, one scene, and it's not played importantly. It's like, it's like
there are no consequences after that scene. Now, as I think about it, we're talking about the church scene after the football game.
Because there's like the church scene's kind of like the movie checking in on him still being Jewish. So, like, still Jewish, and then like he's like, yeah.
That all
like,
being said, the scene on its surface level is a good scene.
It's a good scene.
Like, very well performed by both actors.
Yeah. I just think that this movie...
You're absolutely right, though.
Yeah, like, this movie just checks in and is like, you're still Jewish? And he's like, yeah. Because, like, the next 45 minutes, there's occasionally a part where one of the other kids will use a slur. Yeah. And Fraser will just give him a look.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not portrayed, like, in this way where, like, all these things are building up on him and he's going to blow at some point.
No.
Because it's a specific act that gets him going at the end.
I do like the movie's way of switching gears back to that, though.
Yes.
Because then once you get back to that, struggling with this Jewish identity segment of the movie, it does pick. I think it's kind of what you said about the Dick Wolf thing. It does once again pick up speed.
Yes,
and becomes a lot more interesting.
And that's like inherently the problem I have with this movie is that that should have come much sooner. Because the next 45 minutes, we can almost like talk about them quickly because there's not.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a lot of classroom scenes. There's some fun bits in there. There's some interesting like plot developments that don't really have much relation to the main story.
There's a lot of really good empty scenes.
Yeah. I like the idea this movie's trying to get at, that when they don't know he's Jewish, they treat him normally.
Yeah.
But we didn't need
45 minutes
60% of the movie to be this. Like, it should have been more like 30% of the movie is seeing this, and then we start dealing with the repercussions.
Yeah. Because it could have been... There was a lot of potential for this movie to go...
Because I would say the inciting incident of this movie happens an hour in.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So, just to really quickly get through that, so he gets picked up by his coach.
Yes.
Who sees he has, like, that bruise. And he takes him to that campus, and
he basically tells him, don't be Jewish.
Basically, so we get told right away the coach knows he's Jewish.
Yes.
And the coach knows he's there because he's on like scholarship because he's a great football player. And it's a classic fish out of water scene because Fraser sees all these rich kids at this like public or this private like boarding school campus. And
with a big church in the center.
Church in the center of it.
Yes.
We'll get to that in a little bit. So then he checks into his room. His roommate is Chris O'Donnell.
Chris O'Donnell.
Chris O'Donnell's his roommate, who introduces himself, and we immediately get introduced to the rest of the gang. Do they have a gang name? Like, are they the Monkeys or something like that?
No.
What's Monkeys involved? There's Monkeys involved with their gang.
Are there?
Because they do like the monkey like chant like "Ooh, wah," when they do like a prank or some shit. Do you remember this bit?
I do not. I just watched this movie an hour ago.
We'll talk about like a quick scene where like they do something to their French teacher and then their reaction is...
A scene that is inexplicable, and I want to know how the fuck that's accomplished.
I don't know either.
Because it does not make sense.
It sounds like a classic high school prank, but you think any more than 2% into the prank and how it was done, it's like, wait a minute, guys.
How did this happen?
How did this happen?
Do they have fucking shrink ray technology?
Just tore down the car and rebuilt it in the room.
Okay,
like,
we'll talk
more about it. But then they get quickly introduced to the rest of the guys.
And like half of them are the prefects.
Yes.
They're like the school tribunal.
These are the people in Hogwarts and Harry Potter that be like, move aside, I am head boy.
Yeah.
Like, they're those guys.
One of them actually looks like Tom Riddle.
A little bit.
Kind of looks like Tom Riddle.
A little bit. So you're talking about the tall guy with black hair,
yeah,
right?
like
at the end of the
Chamber
movie?
of Secrets Tom Riddle.
Yeah. I gotcha. We get quickly introduced to Matt Damon.
Yes, the group is Matt Damon, Chris O'Donnell, Tom Riddle, and then Mac, who's the like nerdy kid who dresses up like the Shadow a lot.
Is he's a nerdy kid because he has glasses?
No, he doesn't have glasses. He's the one dressed up like the Shadow all the time. He's the one who has the mental break halfway through the movie.
Right.
The only actor to not have a Wikipedia page in this movie.
Well, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I thought I was like, I recognize this guy, and then I did not recognize this guy. I recognize someone who looks like this guy. He kind of looks like Anthony Michael Hall. That's where my confusion came from.
Rip Van Kelt.
Yes.
Is the guy who is the Tom Riddle like guy.
I can tell you because I did not know his name in this movie. And there's one part where they're like signing honor codes, and he writes Rip Van, and I'm like, oh no! He did not name this poor guy Rip Van Winkle, and then he writes Kelt. And I'm like, okay.
Instead, it's one letter off from Rip Van Pelt, which is the hunter in the first Jumanji movie.
Is it really?
I think it's something Van Pelt.
That's good.
Yeah. So this guy's Rip Van Kelt. But yeah, then there's Mac McGivern.
Yes.
Matt
Damon is Charlie Dillon. And O'Donnell is Chris Reese, who's Fraser's roommate.
There's a guy named...
Fraser's playing a character named David Green. I don't think we said his name.
There's a guy named Jack Connors, played by Cole Hauser.
Yes.
Ben Affleck plays Chesty Smith, who's not really a part of their gang, admittedly enough.
He like pops in and out.
That's Ben Affleck, who plays Chesty. Richard Magoo Collins, whose only role in this movie is to become racist when the time calls for it. That's pretty much his only role in this movie.
I think they might have put out a casting call that said looking for dweeb, and I think he showed up.
Pretty much, yeah. We'll talk more about the other roles, like Mr. Girash and the headmaster Cleary.
Yes.
We got to talk about Mr. Cleary, the actor who plays him. You know the actor who plays Mr. Cleary?
I am aware of him.
Zelshko Ivanek?
Yeah, the French teacher.
Mm-hmm.
What would I know him from?
It just you would know him from like 3 Billboards.
Yeah, I see a lot of. I'm looking at his thing. There's a lot of things he's been in. I just don't
Seven
remember him
Psychos,
from
Hannibal. I remember him, but only because like he literally is like just a
face,
3rd tier supporting actor in a lot of movies.
Of stuff.
Yeah. There was like one performance I remember him very much from that I really liked, but I can't remember what that movie was. I'll think about it later. Anyway.
Oh, he's in a civil action.
Oh shit! You know what it is?
Is it a civil action?
No, it's not a civil action. It's House, the TV show.
Oh.
With Hugh Laurie, because he plays. This is the French teacher, guys. The French teacher Zeltko Ivanek plays a patient in House who comes in with a gun, takes hostages, and forces House to diagnose him because no doctor's been able to diagnose him. It's actually a pretty good episode.
Interesting.
Yeah, highly recommend it.
He's in a civil action, a movie we've covered on this podcast. He's one of Travolta's.
Do not remember him.
He's one of Travolta's like team of lawyers.
Okay. So anyway, we're obviously skipping a little ahead there. But anyway, yeah, he meets the gang and all those folks.
He immediately kind of gets brought into it.
And we get the first few like intro sneak peeks in like the culture of this place, where it's obviously full of anti-Semitic things. Now, sidebar. Obviously, like with the 1950s, like it's definitely believable that like there's like the culture is still very, for the most part, anti-Semitic. That being said, like I would really love like a history professor to like fill me in on like the growth and evolution of like how anti-Semitism changed pre-World War II and post-World War II. Because this was post-World War II, post the Holocaust, post-audience, the public finding out what happened in the Holocaust.
I mean, I'm sure there's still, like, we're still dealing with anti-Semitism in our government today.
Sure, of course.
But I think I know which scene you're, like, referring to maybe being a little strange.
Is it the flag scene?
The flag.
Yeah.
Because that does feel strange.
Yeah, it feels very out of pocket.
Yes.
Because... Do you get kind of where my thought thread is going with that, Jeff?
Yes.
We'll talk about it when we get there.
Yeah, when we get to that scene.
So anyway, immediately we get the idea that Fraser is walking through like a minefield of anti-Semitism. And so, he keeps it under wraps. He doesn't join in on it, but obviously it's very, bothering to him. Then we get like, this is where, you said in the movie, we could really talk quickly through all this. We get some football content where they're practicing football and Fraser's their quarterback, and there's a few football game scenes where they're playing the games, and they win every game in the football scenes that we see, mostly because Fraser is like the best quarterback of all time.
He's like Superman.
Yeah, he's Dwayne The Rock Johnson in the game plan.
Yes.
Like, do you like that?
Yes.
He is Dwayne The Rock Johnson in Gridiron Gang. He is Dwayne The Rock Johnson. There's so many other movies I can name.
Yeah. Like, he's just, he's a great quarterback. And I think, like, another problem with this movie that is maybe what they're trying to do is there's really no faults with Fraser. His character's kind of just a perfect guy.
Well, that was sort of the thread that I wanted to talk about towards the end of the movie, which was like they laid down that foundation with the scene with his dad in his car being like, you should just walk the other way, where Fraser has to like face this, constant, bombardment of anti-Semitism, and he's full of this like masculine rage.
Yeah. Like, clearly the idea of this movie is that he's just a normal person. And then when they learn he's a Jew, like, they turn against him in spite of him just being normal.
Right.
But they almost make him too normal. Like, he doesn't really have many problems in this movie.
Like, they don't give him any real faults.
Yes.
Like, and if
aside from being angry that people hate that he's Jewish, which I would consider is a very justified fault.
Yeah, and it almost could be made sense to say it's like maybe he's overtly masculine about his like defenses with being called like a Jew. Because there is that always like that mindset of like, you know, we don't stoop down to their level. Mm-hmm. There's always that lesson in movies you could like ascertain too.
Yes.
And does the movie cross that finish line at the end? Debatable.
Yeah.
Very debatable. So yeah, we get a few football games where he's like, you know, scoring the team their wins.
They attend a mass at the church in the center of the campus.
Yeah.
Where we're introduced to the principal, who like only appears 3 times in the movie.
This is that scene in Dead Poet Society where the headmaster stands up on that pulpit in the church and is like, full of the 4 pillars, like honor, loyalty, discipline, respect. Yeah. It's basically the exact same scene.
Yeah, it's the same scene, and then the headmaster has 2 other scenes in the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
I was expecting him to be much more of a presence.
Right.
But he's immediately like a draconian principal. He's like, we have standards, obey them or die. And it's like, oh my God.
Essentially.
And then all the guys go back to their room and they have a party. They're dancing to a song, Smokey Joe's Cafe, that kind of bopped. I kind of whipped to that song.
Yeah, yeah. And then we get introduced to Mr. Cleary.
Yes. Mr.
The French teacher.
The French teacher.
Who was also staying at the Storm.
Who is apparently playing Voldemort in this movie. like, I have never seen... Like, if this movie, like, on a scale of, like, I would say, like, hamminess... Like, this isn't a particularly hammy, over-the-top movie.
Right.
It's trying to be pretty naturalistic.
Yeah.
This fucking guy walks in, and he's like, oh, I see. You're dancing to the young people music, the black music. I shall say, it must be obliterated. Like, he's real, like, he's in a fucking stratosphere with this performance.
Bathing in it.
I think he's funny. I don't 100% think it was the wrong choice.
I mean,
but it is most certainly a choice.
Does it make the mental breakdown scene a little bit more believable?
Yeah, I think it would have made it, like, that scene I think he's fine in, that he's just kind of mean to the student.
Yeah.
But, like, the rest of his performance, he's the hoitiest motherfucker I've ever seen.
You all signed the honor code class.
He, like, walks around with, like, a beret and, like, a walking stick that he's whipping in the air all the time.
Yeah, he's a little
much.
He's a little
There's a
hammer.
few too many bits there.
Yeah.
It's the General Grievous thing, where there's a few too many bits involved.
Right, yeah.
Like,
but he tells him to be quiet, and they make a few monkey jokes at him, and he does that, like, standard where he turns back.
Yeah.
And then he starts walking away. Turns back.
Yeah.
And then starts walking.
Because he says, we can't have a jungle here.
Yes, can't have a jungle. That's probably where it all...
Because they're, like, listening to African-American music.
Yeah.
And that's clearly just an outward sign of bigotry.
You know, this all being said, folks, just to make it very clear, not a single black person to be seen in this entire movie.
I want to say, Cleary leaves, closes the door, and did you notice what Fraser did next?
What?
He's calling a shot because he does the George of the Jungle yell.
No
They close the door and he goes, oh! That means the Tarzan yell, but same thing.
So he established the George of the Jungle yell.
Yeah. He's establishing it right here.
Right.
And then they just kind of go through a bunch of classes. The 2 classes we see are French and history. Apparently they don't go to any other classes. We never see math or science or anything.
No.
It's only French and history.
I want to talk about one scene that happened in the history class. Because there's a scene where they're talking about the cheating thing.
Yes.
And and they're like, you have to find the person who cheat. And they're like, today is Saturday. Your next class is Tuesday. You must figure out who. And I'm like, hold the phone. Hold it. They have classes on Saturdays?
Yes.
The fuck?
I'm guessing because it's a boarding school, you can kind of have classes any day of the week. I'm guessing it's like the college system.
It's fucked up.
Where, like, I had Saturday classes sometimes.
Did you?
Not, but it would be, like, by my own choice. It wasn't, like, the only option. It'd be like, all right, I'll do classes from Wednesday to Saturday. And I'll take Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off.
Fascinating. Okay. That's interesting. But
so I'm assuming it's something similar to that.
Yeah.
Where, like, this section of history is only on Saturday, but maybe they have, like, Tuesday off or something.
Right. Fascinating.
My perfect scheduling setup that I ever had in college was, like, I had classes on Tuesday and Thursday.
Yeah.
But I did, like, 12 hours of classes in those 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Then I didn't have classes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was great.
I had a class schedule where it was Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays.
That's pretty nice.
That was it. And
that's nice.
My earliest class was noon.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the kicker, though. Wednesdays and Thursdays, I had a class that went from 6 to 9. And I gotta tell you, like, if we have any high schoolers who are scheduling their college classes right now, morning classes, like the alumni aren't lying to you, kids. Morning classes are better than super late classes.
Yes.
I know what you're thinking now. It's like, oh, this is great. I'm going to go to college. I'm going to schedule all like late classes so I can sleep in and stay up late. Like, guys, I'm here to tell you, not the move.
Yeah.
Like, because there's nothing worse than you've been in class since noon and you get to your class at 6 or 5:50 and you don't get out till like 9 p.m. and the teacher never lets you out early. It is awful.
Brutal.
It's awful.
Like, just do like the 8 or 9 a.m.s.
Yeah.
And then you're like out of all your classes
by like 2.
Yeah. And you have the whole night to yourself.
Exactly. I think that's the better way to do it, but who do I know?
Is this episode making me oddly nostalgic for college?
Me too.
A little bit.
A little bit. Me too. Yeah.
Still, I'm feeling, whatever.
Yeah. Anyway. I think Jeff, the next thing I really think I want to get to is the football game and right afterwards the church scene. But is there anything in between that I'm missing?
I think that's about it.
Okay, so then
he gets a call from his dad.
Yeah.
That's what starts this off.
Okay.
Oh, do you want me to do it?
Yeah.
He gets a call from his dad, who's like, "Hey, son, what are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I have a football game." And he's like, on Saturday. And he's like, "Well, it's Rosh Hashanah, so make sure you make it to the temple."
Totally missed this scene. I totally missed that scene.
And he's like, "Well, it's a big game." And his dad's like, there's a lot of football games, but there's only one Rosh Hashanah. Something along those lines.
It's not true. There are many Rosh Hashanahs.
It was something along those lines.
Yeah.
Like fate. Like, I think he says that thousands of years of tradition, versus like a season of a football game.
So he's gonna have 1,000 more years of tradition of Rosh Hashanah. Is what it sounds like.
And so Fraser kind of has this conflict between his faith and his school, and he goes to the football game.
Yeah.
And they win.
I guess I'm glad I forgot about that scene, because to me it mentally only cut to the football game.
Yeah.
And I didn't know about the Rosh Hashanah thing. They win the football game. This isn't the scene where he uses Matt Damon to block yet. No. We're not there yet. But he wins them.
It's kind of just a baller move. I would do that to Matt Damon if I could.
Absolutely.
No disrespect.
But he wins them the game, and it's a big celebration. Then we cut to a church.
Yeah.
And
the headmaster sees a light on in the church.
Yes.
And he's just walking around. He's like, So he goes over and he opens the door, and
Brendan Fraser's there.
Yeah. And praying with a yarmulke on.
Yeah.
With his Torah open.
Yeah. Praying and
reciting the hymns.
Is the correct name of the language Hasidic or Jewish or
let me confirm this. I believe it's Hebrew.
Hebrew. Fuck. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think it's Hebrew.
He is speaking in the exact verses are on this Wikipedia page.
Fascinating.
But I now cannot find it.
I think you're right though. He's praying something in Hebrew with a yarmulke on. And the headmaster walks in and sees it, and he's like, they have a good dialogue scene here.
Yes.
Now, this is the scene we talked about earlier in the podcast, though, that what happens with this scene.
The headmaster's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, I missed Rosh Hashanah." Or it's Rosh Hashanah. He's like, "Well, I'm aware of Rosh Hashanah, but to my understanding, in your faith, Rosh Hashanah ends at sunset."
Right.
And Fraser's just like, "Well,
I had to go to the game."
And the headmaster asks, "Was skipping the tradition worth a football game?" And Fraser looks at him and says, "Which tradition?" It's like, that's a good scene.
It's a good line.
This tradition, the football, what's to this, very Christian-based white school.
Yeah.
Football is a tradition.
Yeah.
And to him, his Jewish faith, Rosh Hashanah is a tradition.
Exactly.
And it's a really good scene. It's a good
really
setup.
Good line.
And the movie does nothing with it. That's the end of this.
Yeah, I know. And it's...
Yeah. He never has to, even talk to his dad about how he skipped Rosh Hashanah for a football game.
Right.
He doesn't, at the end of the movie when he's listing off the things that, he had to sacrifice, he's never like, "I miss Rosh Hashanah." It's
the
like
headmaster doesn't do anything with the information.
Yeah, it's a good scene in a vacuum.
Yeah.
Which is what a lot of this movie is. It's good scenes in vacuums that
Yeah.
don't come together for a whole.
Right.
It's like maybe 2 script drafts away from getting there.
Yeah, because this scene was really good, and it had the perfect thing, like setups.
Yeah.
Like what scene was a perfect setup to something that wasn't in the movie. But it's just it's unfortunate. You know, you give them 2 more drafts, and you probably could have put something in there.
Yes.
But yeah, it was a good scene. The witch tradition. Ugh, it's a good line.
I would say, like, honestly, after this scene is when the turn should happen in the movie.
Yeah.
Like,
and it doesn't.
I feel like this is kind of like a great prelude to getting into the meat of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But instead we have like 20, 30 more minutes of wheel turning.
Yeah.
Which is when he, like, there's this whole business with Mac having a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
Which doesn't feel like there's any point to have it in the movie. Because
it goes again to like the very thin through line of Fraser having to deal with his masculinity.
Yes.
Because that's the scene where he threatens McCleary.
Yeah.
Or Cleary, yeah.
But like the decision they had to make was, is this a movie about a guy dealing with adversity because he's Jewish in like a white ecosystem? Or is this a movie about a guy going through high school?
Right.
Because this is all stuff that's like, this is Dead Poet Society 101 right here.
Yeah.
Like with, you know, this kid having a breakdown with, what's his name?
Todd Anderson.
Todd Anderson committing suicide.
Yeah.
It's one and the same idea, but there's no cohesion in this movie between those two.
Yeah.
If anything, this sequence should basically be Fraser having to deal with like being ridiculed by a teacher for being Jewish.
Yeah.
He should be the one facing the abuse in this point.
Yeah.
Not Mac having to like deal with the expectations of going to this school.
Yeah.
But you know, Mac, this kid gets yelled. He fails his translation assignment.
Yeah. This is the French class, which is also taught by Mr. Cleary.
Yes.
Mr. Voldemort.
Mr.
Cleary.
Tom Riddle.
And they have like an exam that they're doing, and Mac is up in the front of the class, like reciting French saying.
Yeah.
I don't know it's a poem or a reading, whatever it might be. But Cleary's like doing the dickish thing of like correcting him during the thing and being rude, and
it's like, s'il vous plaît, ha ha ha.
It's like, no, it's Von Jouy.
Yeah, he actually at one point like puts a beret on, pulls out a long cigarette holder, and starts eating a baguette in the middle. It's very strange. I thought it was a little odd that they put that detail in there. But
oh man, he throws a snail at him.
Yeah, he's like, s'il vous plaît. He starts like, it's maybe a little much Robert Mandel.
None of this happens in the movie. But Mac does freak out, and he runs out of the classroom.
Yes. And they can't find him.
And
they find him in the math classroom, or in the French classroom later.
Yeah.
I think Ben Affleck's the one who notices him. His one contribution to the plot.
Maybe was it Ben Affleck who found him?
He's like, oh, I was trying to do a
what
Boston.
Was that? What was that?
I started trying to do a Boston accent and immediately went Canadian, so I cut it off.
All I heard was the, oh, gee.
He's like, hey, let me tell you something. That's New York. I
just stop.
I can only do a JFK, which isn't even that good.
Yeah, no, you just stick to your Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
That wasn't an invitation. That was not an invitation.
I didn't do it. Okay.
You were about to.
I was thinking about it.
Okay, but they find him in the French class.
In the French classroom, like,
and he's
fetal
like
position, like muttering in French.
Yeah, hyperventilating and all that stuff.
Well, this is clear because Cleary cast a hex upon him.
The Imperious curse.
he's just like
under the Cruciatus curse.
He's in there like, s'il vous plaît, s'il vous plaît. He walked in with like a bucket. I don't know why.
Maybe they thought he was going to throw up.
He's writing like Mr. Cleary is a doofus on the board or something like that. The ambulance rushes Mac out.
Well, like there was like a small little moment that I did kind of like, which was Fraser crouching up right next to him and like kind of helping him through like just to help him calm down a little bit.
It's another one of those scenes that's great in a vacuum.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, okay.
We could still appreciate those great scenes in a vacuum. Because I think that this is a great example of how good Fraser is even under such a
He's a very empathetic actor.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And he does such a great job with that even in the presence of a thin script and poor direction.
Yes.
Because I don't believe that he was doing any of like the director's stuff.
Yeah.
Just personally. Maybe this guy's a great director. I don't know. I mean, just based on like what he's done.
They're all giving performances.
Yeah. Same with Matt Damon. He feels like he's giving the exact same Good Will Hunting performance.
Yes.
Personally.
Matt Damon is very good in this movie.
Yes.
Matt Damon, like I wrote in my notes, he's a movie star, baby.
Yeah.
I would like to note quickly that Robert Mandel, the director of this movie, the top line of his Wikipedia page says he is best known for School Ties, which launched the careers of Brendan Fraser, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Cole Hauser, and Chris O'Donnell. So this man's most notable thing is that he made a movie where a lot of people
launched the career.
It's the first. It's a lot of their first movie. So
okay. I don't know what to say. Launch the career. Yeah, but they get him out on a stretcher. He's in the hospital, and Fraser sees Cleary and immediately like rushes him. And he's like, "I'll kick your ass, Cleary." It's like, "You did this. You did this. This is your fault." And they're like, yo, like,
don't do that. That's a quick way to get expelled. And he's like, "Too bad. I got to stand up for my morals." And then he doesn't. But
again, it's like a thin thing where like, is this movie about him struggling with his masculinity or like, I don't know. Like it is just kind of like empty.
Yeah.
It's very empty. They have a scene at the dock with Damon and Fraser. It's a good scene.
Yeah.
Again, in a vacuum.
They kind of talk about like how Damon has to deal with these expectations of his family.
Yes. Roger Ebert. I listened to a review that Roger Ebert and
Jane
Siskel were giving, and Roger Ebert said something like especially something that I never even thought about, which is like Matt Damon's character isn't even struggling with, the high. It's not that like like all eyes are on him.
Yeah.
It's that all the expectations are on him because he's the fifth copy.
Yeah.
Of his family member who's gone through. So he's dealing with like, essentially he's already not the quarterback. So he's already flunking in that realm. He's got to get into Harvard, and he just has and it's not that what he'll do will be impressive.
Yeah.
It's what he'll do will be the same.
Yes.
Just the exact same of what everyone else has done. He's not even fighting for a spotlight. He's fighting to not be the underling.
Yes.
If that makes sense. Which I just thought that was something interesting to think about.
Roger Ebert's always good at those like micro like points.
Yeah.
That he points out like the really specific thing that you're grasping at in the movie.
Yeah.
You're like, I can't put my hand on, and Roger Ebert's great at pointing those out.
Yeah. So like Matt Damon has like a really good like motivation in this movie. Like I believe most of the things he does.
Yes.
Because he does turn quite villainous.
Yes.
At a point.
He does go full villain.
Yeah. So, but anyway,
around this time, like Damon's life does start falling apart.
Yes. Because we get the second football game. Dylan.
Charlie Dillon.
Charlie Dillon.
Because we're introduced that he has a childhood friend who he's trying to make his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Whose name?
Stacy No Name.
Stacy. It's Sally.
That was my joke, Jeff.
Oh.
Stacy No Name.
Yes. Sally, who's not really a character.
Not a character in this movie at all. Her job is to bat her eyelashes and be like, "Oh my god."
Yes.
She is what every young white teenage girl will do in George of the Jungle.
Yes.
When they see Brendan Fraser with his.
Which is what every young white girl did in Encino Man when they saw Brendan Fraser.
That too.
Yes. Listen to our Encino Man episode.
Yes.
But that's she kind of like Damon is kind of convinced they're in a relationship. She does not believe and she falls for Fraser very quickly.
Very quickly. Like they make eye contact across the room and they are already eye fucking.
Yes.
Damon offers Fraser to dance with Sally.
Yes.
They dance for a little bit. Immediately like fall in love at this like dance.
Yes.
And they exchange numbers and stuff.
And he goes on a date with her at a local diner.
Yeah.
Which is just a scene.
Yeah. I don't remember it. Do you remember it?
I
know what happens, but I don't remember what they talked about.
I remember there's a part where he lights her cigarette, and she's like, "You don't smoke?" And he's like, "Nah, I tried it and didn't take it." And she's like, "Wow, you're so perfect. There's no faults with you." And I was like, "Yeah, this is the problem with the movie, is that there are no faults with this man."
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, writers, for acknowledging. Thank you for acknowledging this problem. Yeah. I wish you had taken the time to fix it instead of just pointing it out.
Yeah.
It's like in a movie where a character's like, "This thing makes no sense."
It's like, yeah.
It's like, yeah. Maybe instead of writing that line, you could have just made it make sense.
It's like when Jean Grey walks out of the Return of the Jedi screening in Days of Future Past. She's like, everyone knows the third one's always the worst.
It's like, maybe just don't say that. Maybe just don't do that.
Maybe just don't make a bad third movie then.
Well, that's kind of embarrassing. You put that in the movie.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes those things work out where it's like clearly the filmmaker is very winking with it.
Yeah.
But when it kind of reads like, it's like, configure this. I'm like, okay, maybe.
Well, like, I don't even think the director was aware of that on set. Yeah. That was something that Dick Wolf seemed very aware of, but not the director.
So that happens now. Matt Damon has lost his girlfriend, his position on the football team.
What is his position on the football team?
Because he's the halfback or whatever the fuck it's called.
Oh yeah, he gets moved to halfback instead of running back.
Well, he was in line for quarterback, but Fraser gets it. So like he's already, like you said, he's already not in the ideal position.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the movie.
And then there's the football game.
Yeah, there's a football game. Did you notice their numbers? No. This was pointed out to me.
Oh,
Fraser's 42.
Yeah, the Jackie Robinson
Damon
number.
Damon's 21, which is half of 42 because he's half the man that Fraser is.
I'm rolling my eyes.
I think that's kind of fun. Like those are the really on the nose details that like if someone pointed this out to me. I did not notice this.
I guess
It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. In the football game, they're losing, having a hard time, but then Fraser.
Well, they're losing because Fraser.
Oh, right.
Is helping Damon out
because Damon, like the coach is calling plays to like do something to not put Damon involved, but Damon then talks to Fraser on the field like, "You got to pass the ball to me or whatever."
Yeah, my older brother and my parents are here. I have to show off.
Right, exactly. And he tries it once, but then Damon gets a tackle and fumbles the ball. So then he's like, "The coach calls the plays now," and then they call a play, and then he's like, and Dylan, I need you on that block. And so they run this play, and Fraser quite literally shoves Matt Damon in front of him as he's running for the end.
It's done in slow. It's really just disrespectful to Matt Damon how they do it. It's like in slow mo.
Yeah, he like shoves Matt Damon in front of him to take a tackle.
Yeah. The like song from Titanic starts playing. It's like,
God.
You're here, there's nothing to feel.
Yeah,
as like he's flying into this other guy.
But Fraser gets the touchdown. He wins the game, and all the glory's on Fraser.
Yes.
And then there's a dinner afterwards.
Yes. With a bunch of, it's like an alumni association dinner.
Yeah. Bunch of old white guys. Yeah. Every country club server's nightmare.
Yes. Also, I am not a follower of football. The score is 9-7. That's low. That's like low, right? For a football game.
That's like they each scored a touchdown plus an extra point.
Yeah.
Like one team would have had to score a touchdown, not get the extra point, but then get a field goal, which is 3 points. So they got 9.
That's what happens to the Fraser team is they get a field goal for 3.
Yeah.
And then they get a touchdown at the end.
Yeah.
And like that's low, right? Like football usually has much higher scores. Am I correct?
Typically. Yeah.
Because like they seem really excited about this very low score. I guess it's establishing the teams are evenly matched, but
evenly matched in like defense, probably. Like their defenses are really strong.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway, so
this is the scene when we finally get the conflict of the movie.
Yes.
We finally get
this
to
is the
juice.
Turning point. Where they're in this dinner. Fraser's dancing with Sally.
Yeah.
Fraser's getting on the glory.
Damon's kind of angry.
Yeah.
He's starting to have festering anger, and then he overhears
the headmaster and the coach.
The headmaster's talking with this, like, the coach is talking with this drunk guy.
Yeah.
This drunk alumni.
Yeah.
He's like, and he's good for a Jew.
Yeah.
And Damon's like, what? He's like, he's a Jew.
And the coach is like, you really can't keep a secret, can you?
Which, like, was the entire alumni aware of that he's a Jewish?
Well,
and
that's
they,
why I thought
they
it
made
was
a secret pact.
That's why I
to
thought it was
secret?
like the headmaster or something.
I think it is the headmaster.
Maybe it was the headmaster or the coach who spilled it.
No, it's definitely an alumni,
It's
or
definitely-
he's on the board of trustees or something. But
Yeah.
regardless, like, did the entire like ecosystem of the school get together, hold a vote, and decide, all right, guys, we're going to keep this on the hush hush.
That we're giving a Jewish student
Yeah.
a scholarship to come here.
Yes. You feel like that would have just like gotten out sooner.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things of like, if Area 51 did have aliens in there, the amount of workers who've worked in that plant, one of them would have spilled. Same with the moon landing.
Yeah, someone did the math about how many people would have been required to keep their mouth shut for the moon lands, like 200,000.
Yeah.
If we faked it.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure some conspiracy theories are like, but they have talked. I have proof. Well, it's okay, buddy.
Here's your Xanax and take a chill pill.
Buddy, go have fun. go get a hobby.
D&D's pretty nice this time of year.
Yeah, it is. I've never played it before, but I'm looking forward to our first campaign.
What?
Yeah, whoa. That's right, folks. We're volunteering the Travolting Dungeon. No, it's not. That's not a thing we're doing. Shortly after this is when
Is it the shower scene?
the shower scene where we get a little Matt Damon booty.
We do get a little Matt Damon and
We get a
Fraser,
little Matt Damon tush.
and Fraser, buddy.
We get a little Fraser tush.
Yeah.
Brendan Booty.
For BG-13, you know.
Brendan Booty. Damon. I can't think of a rhyme.
They got the juice.
Yeah, they do have
They're very wet.
Yeah.
Very wet.
I wrote Wet Fraser in my.
Yeah.
Wait, no, but this is about a later scene.
Oh.
But they're in the shower and they're talking. I can't remember how it comes up, but
So
Damon spills like, yeah, he's a Jew, didn't you know?
it's actually, I actually really like how it's kind of brought up because he has like a classic like anti-Semitic joke kind of where he's like, so there's a bunch of people in like a church and or no, like in the 3 priests come to this town. One of them is Christian and preaches the good word of Jesus, and the third of them,
Well, the first one's a Catholic.
yeah, and he converts some folks to Catholicism. Second folks a
Is a
Protestant.
Methodist.
Or
Protestant,
Protestant Methodist, and he converts some folks to Protestant. The third guy shows up and says, "There's a gold mine in the sky," and all the Jews sign for
Join the Air Force.
Join the Air Force. It's a classic like Jews like money joke.
And he looks right at Fraser.
He looks right at Fraser,
and Fraser kind of pieces together what's happening.
Yeah,
and he's like, "So what?" And I think Damon calls him like a dirty, you know what?
Yeah, it's like this guy hasn't been telling us the truth, and then he spills the beans in front of everybody. That
you spilled your beans.
Yeah, that he's a Jew.
Yes.
There's a fight that breaks out.
Yeah.
Fraser, who is like 6 foot 1,000.
Yeah. Matt Damon, who is like a shrimp.
He stands no chance in hell whatsoever against the brawly arms and the masculine legs of Fraser. Like, it's nice to know that like Fraser has the body type where realistically he could win almost every fight.
Stuart, I got a question.
Yeah.
Does he stand a chance against the bangs and nice greased back look of Brendan Fraser?
What?
His hair?
Is this your invitation?
This is my invitation.
All right, cue the hair. Welcome to the hair ranking of John.
Yes.
I said John Travolta. Fucking hell! I'm cursed. I'm cursed.
I feel like it will take us a little bit, but we'll get there.
Okay, so I need to find a photo.
I got it.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up.
Okay, great.
I think his hair looks pretty nice in this movie.
I think it does
me.
too. I like it. I like it So let's see the list. Let's put it number 1.
Number
let's
one.
Put it number 1.
School ties.
Yeah, School Ties number 1. It's very nice hair.
We do also have to acknowledge that the reason this movie is called School Ties is because they wear ties, and then that doesn't really play much into the movie.
Yeah, that's like a throwaway line.
Yeah, because the band, he's like, you need a school tie to
the
idea is clearly like they have to wear school ties to fit in.
Yeah,
everyone wears a school tie to fit in.
Yeah,
and he doesn't fit in.
Right.
Cool.
Cool.
Probably a better name.
So yeah, Brendan Fraser. So yeah, school ties #1 hair. It's really good hair. It's preppy school boy.
Look at it after he wears the football helmet.
Oh,
that's very
nice. So yeah, this is where we're back to Fraser's room, and he's talking to
his roommate, Reese.
Yeah, O'Donnell.
Chris Reese.
Chris O'Donnell.
Chris Reese, played by Chris O'Donnell.
Chris O'Donnell. That's confusing.
Yes.
So he talks to his roommate Chris, and he's like, "How could you not have told us, man?" He's like, "You would have treated me differently." I know that it's like, man, this is the thing that really bothers me, is they all make it out to seem like they're mad at him because he lied to them.
Yes.
But he is right.
Yeah.
He's like, because as soon as he comes out, like it comes out that he's Jewish,
they all immediately turn on him.
Yeah. So it's like, he's totally justified. Yeah. Like, but yeah, that's what Chris O'Donnell's like thing. It's like, he's like, "I'm just mad that you lied, man."
And he's like, "What are you?" And he's like, "I'm Methodist." And he's like, "Did you tell me that?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "Then why do I have to tell you that? Why should I have just brought up that I'm Jewish?" And he's like, "It's different. Jews are just different."
Yeah.
And Fraser's like, "Okay," and just kind of sits down and walks away.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few different things that goes on.
Basically, the next few scenes. Oh, we did skip a scene we had to talk about.
The prank.
We skipped the prank, which has no business really being in this movie.
It really has no business, because what are the ramifications for Cleary after? Nothing.
Nothing for them either. There's no one gets in trouble.
So, folks, you remember when we talked about the panic attack that Mac had, and how Brendan Fraser's like, "We got to get back at him," and they're like, we will, just not that way.
They get back at him by conscripting a bunch of children to dress up like Cleary to distract him on the pathways of the school.
Yeah.
While they run to his car, pick it up, and then put it in his classroom?
I thought it was his room.
In his bedroom?
I thought it was his bedroom.
Yeah, I think it's his bedroom. But and they leave it running.
Yeah.
My question is, how do they get that car in there? Because it's like, it's explicitly set up as like a 5-minute operation.
Yeah.
This bedroom has a normal sized door. There's no like elephant door.
Right.
And there's windows, but they're like 3 separate windows.
Yeah.
Even if they took apart the car and then rebuilt it, that would take time.
Yeah.
Cars aren't Legos.
Right.
I don't
get it. I don't get it either, man. I don't understand it either.
I was watching the scene, and I saw the cars going. I'm like, oh, did they put on the roof or something? Like,
right.
That's ridiculous. Well, at least somehow they got it up there. And then I'm like, he opens the door and it's just running in his bedroom. I'm like,
what's his scream?
Like, oh, no, he's the Voldemort. I was like, okay.
The car was his 6th Horcrux.
I'm like, fun?
I
don't know.
I don't know.
And back to the present.
To the present.
I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah.
They there's just a lot of sequences of him dealing with adversity. A few kids hang up a swastika in his classroom.
Yeah, swastika flag.
And this is, I think, where we were like, I feel like shortly after World War II, I don't think even prep school kids would be playing around with swastikas that much. I could be very wrong. Kids are shitheads.
I want to open this door to a conversation that I'd like our audience to interact with us with. And that is like we all know, it's like we have neo-Nazis in the streets now, which is it's
shameful.
It's a shameful thing to think about. It's like the fact that we fought against. It's the same thing with like Confederacy and all that stuff. That
it keeps coming back.
It keeps coming back. Like, how does that happen? But that being said, I feel like it was almost like too soon for there to be like Nazi sympathizers after World War II.
Yeah, and I don't think this movie's trying to say they're Nazi sympathizers, but they use a swastika. Because anti-Semitism was definitely rampant in America at this time.
It's rampant nationwide. Germany was the one who's like, we're gonna do something.
Yeah, it's clearly still rampant in the 50s. There's a lot of evidence of this.
Yeah,
but I do think that the swastika is an odd move.
Because who are the kids in school who are thinking to themselves, maybe the Nazis weren't all wrong.
Yeah,
maybe they were 99% wrong, but the 1% that they got right.
It's very impactful for the movie.
Yeah.
And teenage boys are shitheads.
Yeah.
And I can probably list some people I knew in high school who would pull something like this.
Yeah.
But its immediate proximity to World War II does make it slightly strange.
Yeah. But I'm probably wrong about that, maybe. But I just think to myself, it's like, I know people who are separated through decades.
I think we're just not anti-Semitic, and so it's hard for us to fathom.
Yeah.
I'm going to give us the benefit of the doubt and say we're not anti-Semites.
It's just really hard to imagine that right after the Nuremberg trials, that there were people who were like, maybe the Nazis weren't all, horrible people. Anyway, but yeah, he finds the flag. He immediately rips it down. He goes back to his room. Everyone sees it, and he comes back out of his room with a note.
Yeah,
and he tacks it on the bulletin board in the dorm.
And it says, "Whoever hung the flag, meet me out front at 10:30 p.m."
Yeah,
and we get the single greatest shot of this movie.
Yes, we do.
All these boys are like going up to their windows and looking out. We see Damon looking out.
Yeah,
and we just see Brendan Fraser standing in the middle of a thunderstorm,
wearing a tank top,
wearing nothing but like a white tank top and pants, standing like this,
brawly style,
arms
like, out,
and he's just standing there getting pelted with water, dripping wet, standing like a fucking statue.
This is where that budget went, maybe.
Yeah, it's only this shot, and he's like, cowards,
cowards.
I jumped out my seat. I'm like, yeah,
because like, yeah, man.
I mean, that's what you pay him the big bucks for.
Right.
Anyway. Great scene.
Great scene.
So the
this is where we get the history thing. Right.
Damon he can't afford to fail history because he needs to go to Harvard.
Right.
And so he cheats on his history test final, which is 30% of the total grade.
And the way he does that is his roommate has a study guide, and he goes to bed and he lays the study guide on his chair. Damon stealthily, with a D20 critical roll stealth check, goes over, and you said this wasn't a D&D podcast?
It is now.
Okay, great. He rolls a D20 stealth check and is able to swipe the study guide and writes down all the answers onto a small little piece of paper, and he does it, the hand cup style. Everyone who's cheated on tests knows what I'm talking about, the hand cup style, where you write like on a very small piece of paper that you can hide on your like palm or wrist that no one sees.
Yes.
So.
And he succeeds at cheating.
Yeah. They all have to write the honor code on the front of their... Did your school have that?
We had to like sign an honor code at the beginning of the year.
We didn't have to sign an honor code for every exam. Yeah, it was a little weird, but anyway.
But so basically, Damon gets away with it, but then on his way out of the classroom, someone bumps into him and he drops the cheat.
Whoa, because this is a good like establishing. So like as he's cheating, first off, he's cheating very like poorly. He's like very clearly looking at his hand, and you can see the little pamphlet he wrote. So first, Fraser catches it.
Yeah,
and he doesn't say anything about it, but he catches it, and then Rick Van Pelt, Tom Riddle himself, one of the prefects, looks over and sees it. So there's two witnesses to it.
Yeah.
Then the class ends. They turn in their scantrons or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they are walking out, and they're like, whatever. Dylan's like, you guys are jokesters. And as he gets patted or whatever, he drops
the cheat guide.
The cheat guide on the ground in classroom. And that's when Mr. Garish,
I think.
Garish comes out and sees the cheat guide, grabs it, and then we cut to the next day in history class where all the students are in there.
And he's like, there is a cheater in this room.
Yes.
It is Saturday. You have until Monday to present yourself, or I fail the entire classroom.
Yeah. It's good. That's basically how he said it. Yeah.
And they're like, it's not fair. And he's like, it's not fair that someone cheated.
It's like, can't you just make us retake it? It's like, that would mean I had to ignore the honor. And that would be disastrous.
That would be disastrous. I don't know what that voice was. Or
I know what that voice was. It's like, I am probably dead. I am going to put information into your eyeball.
It's the fucking Battlefield Earth guy. My favorite alien.
What, it's like, my name is Glib Glob. I am probably dead.
My name is Glup Shitto. I am an alien.
I am probably dead. I serve at the Masters of the Cyclos.
It was the bartender!
No, we can't bring that back.
We can't relitigate Battlefield Earth on this school ties episode.
So then they all go back they all start discussing the classroom.
Yeah.
It's like somebody cheated or whatever, and like no one's able to like figure out who. It's
and
like,
they're oh, it's up to the prefects to figure it out. Is what they decide. They'll have like a little council.
yeah, they have like a council with some of the folks.
Elrond.
Yeah, the council of Elrond.
Trombine shows up.
Meanwhile, in between that, Fraser
confronts Damon,
and he's
says, like, "I saw you cheating."
Yeah,
he's like, "Either you go to them or I do."
Yeah,
and so in the next meeting, they're all together, and Damon and Fraser are sitting across from each other,
and they're all accusing one guy of it.
Yeah, they're all thinking it's going to be Reese. I think is somebody.
Yeah, because because he was suspected of cheating on a French test earlier in the movie.
Fraser looks at Damon. Damon looks back, and Fraser starts to get up, but then Damon shoots up.
Yeah, and he says, "Guys,
I know who cheated. It was Green!" And he points
David
at
Brendan Fraser,
who's shook, and he's just like, "What? No, it was
fuck?
you." He's like, "What the fuck? It was you."
Yeah,
and they're like, "Yeah, he's a Jew. Of course he cheated."
Yeah,
and so they
pulled a real rope-a-dope on him.
They have a vote, and it looks like 3 of the kids vote for Fraser or against or in support of him. And then the rest of them say that Damon's telling the truth and that Fraser cheated.
Yeah.
And so they tell Fraser he has to go and turn himself into the headmaster.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Fine. I'll do
I'll lie.
I'll lie."
Yeah.
And then he walks out, and we see Damon. He seems really self-satisfied.
Mm-hmm. And
then we look at Tom Riddle, Rip Van Kelt.
Well, so I think Fraser, essentially, it's like as they argue about it in the Council of Elrond, they expel Damon and Fraser from the room. They say, "You guys get out. We'll have a secret ballot vote." This is where Chris O'Donnell was like really coming to Fraser's aid.
Yes.
And it was the nerdy Four Eyes guy who is like super. He's like the most anti-Semitic in the room.
Yes, he's the most anti-Semitic person.
He's a dirty Jew.
All time,
like,
apparently.
what do you mean? And just very anti-Semitic. The voice for all the entire room. And they all eventually vote on it, and then they show up to Fraser and they tell him that. He says, "Okay, I'll go to the headmaster and I'll lie." So then I think we're in the headmaster's office. You seem concerned.
No, I'm just looking something up.
Okay. He goes to the headmaster's office and he's like, "I was the one who cheated. I cheated on the test." And the headmaster's like, "No, you didn't. I know you didn't." And then the person who's behind Fraser turns around, and it's Rip Van Kelt. And he's like, "I also saw Damon. I also saw Dylan cheat. So I know it wasn't you."
Yeah.
So it's like, so they say, you're a good student here. We don't want you to ruin your future. We hope you stay. But we are going to expel Matt Damon.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Okay. I'm not going to leave because you may use me for football, but I'll use you to get into Harvard." And here's the thing. That line was delivered like it was a gotcha, but didn't really feel like a gotcha.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, good. Yeah, you should use me to get into Harvard.
Yeah.
Like, we want you to get into Harvard, pal. Like, I never felt there was any animosity from the headmaster.
Yeah.
The headmaster, like, hears out
it's
Rip Van
a strange
Kelt,
ending.
and it's like, yeah, we believe both of you that this guy from a very reputable family did it, so we're just going to expel him. There's no, there was a lot of different ways they could have upped the ante and the tension here. Like, if Rip Van Kelt went to the headmaster and the headmaster decided to ignore that evidence and still expel David Green, Brendan Fraser.
Yes.
But, like, no. Literally is like, "Oh, we got another witness who backs you up, so we're going to expel Damon. So, congrats. We hope you still stay at our school."
Yeah. And so they do expel Damon.
Yep.
And Fraser walks in, he runs into him, and Damon's like...
He's in the car.
Yeah, he's in the car on his way home. He looks like he's been crying. And he's just like,
I'll still
probably get into Harvard.
But you'll still be a Jew.
Yeah, you'll still be a Jew. And then Fraser looks at him and says, "You'll still be a prick." And then Damon takes off. That's the last line of the movie. And Fraser walks up, and we get this big wide shot of the church center ground, and Fraser walking towards it. He's still underneath like this. He's still in this very waspy system.
The movie's over.
And the movie ends.
Yep.
I'm like, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that about? Before we get into post text, just my immediate thoughts is I like this movie.
I thought it was fun.
I did like this movie.
Yeah.
I liked it just because even though there were a lot of good moments that only existed in a vacuum, they were good moments nonetheless. Fraser really does pull off a really good performance in this, and it's backed up by a good performance by Matt Damon as well, and a couple other good supporting cast. And it is very thin, and it is very like there's not a lot of tension and stakes, but I like what the movie's like at least trying to do.
It has a good heart.
Yeah, the movie has a good heart. It's trying to be a
movie about rejecting prejudice.
Yeah.
I just don't think the pieces are laid enough for it to really sing.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
It's no love song for Bobby Long for me. I thought it might, but it isn't.
It is, and it's fine. I enjoyed it well. It's very watchable.
Yeah.
Fraser's very good.
Fraser is never the problem in this movie.
Yeah, and this should have been, in theory, the movie that kind of shows him as a dramatic actor and allows him to kind of blossom into some more exciting, daring work.
However...
But the thing is, it comes out, it gets mixed reviews. It currently has a 60% Rotten Tomatoes, which I use Rotten Tomatoes a lot, but I just want to acknowledge a lot of these reviews are done relatively recently by the updated Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Because it's not 100%. But that's the score it has now. Ebert liked it. He gave it 3 out of 4.
Yeah. Siskel liked it.
Siskel, for the most part, people are like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Which is roughly the thought I had. And then it was a commercial failure. It grossed 14.7 on a budget of 18, so it lost about $4 million plus.
Yeah,
which is unfortunate. I'm sure Fraser was like,
yeah.
There's a lot of, as Stuart said, a lot of promotional material online of him talking about this movie.
Yeah.
So he's clearly very passionate about this. Even during Encino Man, he's like, this is the movie he wanted to be people to watch for him that year.
Yeah.
And instead, it's Encino Man.
Yeah.
And so, like we talked about at the beginning, I think the majority, the real impact of this movie is that he comes out of it and decides, all right, well, I'll just keep doing what people liked. And Hollywood's like, okay, they liked him in the comedy, they didn't like him in the drama, we'll offer him more stuff like that.
Yeah.
Less dramatic, more charming comedic.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say that after both of these two movies, Fraser has the accolades to step into the title level of being called a working actor.
Yeah.
I think from this point on, Fraser is now, he won't struggle for work, which there will become a period where we'll talk about that. But he's at the period now where he's got enough accolades and enough proof under his belt that he's not.
He'll get work.
He'll get work. He won't.
Hollywood's looking at him and they're trying to figure out where they're going to put him in their system.
And that's where we're at with Fraser.
Yeah,
he is a multi-shaped peg that
they're whittling him down into which hole he goes in.
Yes, that's good. I like that. I like
that. You teed it up.
Well,
you teed it up.
Yeah, that was good.
That was teamwork.
That's good finish.
That's what that was.
Good finish.
But that's mostly the impact of this movie. I feel like we talked about the impact a lot in the intro.
Yeah.
So I really don't have too much for you.
Yeah, I don't really have much left either.
But yeah. Overall, an interesting movie. I'm glad I watched it. Wouldn't say it's exceptional, but I am glad that Fraser got the opportunity to show off some dramatic chops.
Same.
And that's I'd say that's my final thought on this movie. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think I've got pretty much everything I needed to say about it. So
yeah, so that was School Ties. Thank you folks so much for listening. Please make sure to tune in next week for our episode on $20, which is a movie.
It is.
$20. That's how I'm starting that episode. Calling my shot right now.
Okay.
I'm doing the Altoids barn thing.
Oh.
$20.
Bucks.
Yes. As always, please remember to rate, review, subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. As a reminder, we are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. We're also available on a lot more websites than I originally thought. If you go through our RSS feed, there's a lot of random podcast sites that we are available on.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's things that literally do not exist. It's podstream.com or something like that.
Huh.
Weirdo websites like that. So we are available in more places than I thought.
Interesting.
But yeah, you can, in addition to finding us on all those various websites, you can find us at TravoltingPod on Twitter or Instagram for updates and fun stuff. Find us TravoltingPodcast@gmail.com if you have any comments or questions. Pop into our Reddit, r/Travolting. You can find me on Twitter at Jeff W. Sweeney.
You can find me on Instagram at Stuart Elmore 95.
You brought it back, folks. And as always, special thanks to Rebecca Johnson for our graphic design and Michael Van Boden Smith for the theme music that is currently taking you out. Have a great week, folks, and see you next time.
Bye. Fuck White Castle.